Yo, 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 it's your boy Nick from Intune ATL, and I'm joined by none other than YouTuber and sneaker enthusiast Blake Yarbrough. How you doing,
What's up,
man?
guys? Good, man. Appreciate you having me on today. This is exciting.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. I want to start by just kind of congratulating you for your success on YouTube and on Instagram and the things that you post. I think they reach a lot of people, and I think you're kind of carving out a lane as like one of the faces for Atlanta like sneaker content.
I appreciate it. It's super humbling to like hear something like that because I really just see myself as like a regular dude that likes sneakers. So I don't really think about it in the influence. Like I don't think of myself in like the influence space, I guess. Maybe I should, but I just love sneakers a lot. I've always loved them. And so it's cool to tie that in with like living here in Atlanta and doing stuff around the city.
Most definitely. Can you walk me through your upbringing, just kind of as like young Blake and kind of who you were, like, when you were younger?
Yeah. So I was born at Northside Hospital, which is in Atlanta, on the north side of Atlanta. But I grew up in Gwinnett County. So I was raised in like the suburbs, I guess. I consider it the suburbs, Gwinnett County, Grayson specifically. And I played sports, mainly baseball, but I played some basketball, played football a little bit. I liked football like in the yard, but not recreationally. But I played baseball a lot, so a lot of my influence, I guess, like sports wise, was tied around baseball. King Griffey Jr. was my favorite player, so my cat is named after him. And then I think like that's like him, like he was super cool. So I mean, I liked the Atlanta Braves, obviously Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones, like that era of the Braves was super important to me. But like as far as like coolness, like King Griffey Jr. was like so cool. So I liked his shoes, like his swag, everything about him I thought was super cool. And so I mainly liked growing up, like sneaker wise, I mainly liked like running shoes because that's kind of what I would wear. Um, I liked some basketball shoes, but not. I wasn't really into Jordans until I got into like high school. And so that's probably when I got my first pair of Jordans. Nike Shocks were really big back then. Air Max were really big for me. Those like the first Air Max 360. That was one of the first pairs. I remember I think they were like 150 bucks, and that was a super expensive pair. So that was probably, I mean, just like sports were a big thing in my life growing up. Um, I didn't come to Atlanta. I came to Atlanta mainly for sporting events, so like Falcons, Hawks, Braves. I'm a big Dogs fan, so UGA is probably my favorite team overall. But sports, I mean, big sports guy, love sports. So I've been getting to do some opportunities with the teams the last couple of years, which is, I mean, it's sick. Like it's really cool. And so that's probably the biggest thing about me is that's how I grew up. Just, I mean, every season was revolved around sports.
Most definitely. I think I could say the same thing. I grew up playing baseball as well, and I still love the hometown team. Love the Braves. I'm a Gators fan personally, so I'm not going to hold
Ah,
your
man.
your affinity for UGA against you, but you're cool in my
That's
book.
funny.
But I
One
like
of
the
my best friends
sweatshirt.
like the Gators growing up. So it was always a big time of year right around Halloween was always a big rivalry.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to go to Jacksonville this year and catch the game.
It's sick. I haven't been inside, like I've never bought a ticket, but I've been down there for like the tailgate and everything. And it's, I mean, if you haven't done that, you got to at least do that because it's a crazy experience. I want to get tickets though. They're so expensive.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of why I'm like, I'm still on the fence about it, but I think me and my pops will go because he's a Gator fan as well. Maybe that'll just be
Oh, okay.
like a boys trip, but
This will be a
yeah,
good year, honestly. I think just like kind of how the teams are aligning. I think this will be a good year for it.
Most definitely. I do want to ask you though, what made you start posting videos on YouTube? Because I could tell that you obviously have a love for sneakers, but what kind of made you want to put yourself out there and I guess become a content creator?
So I worked at when I mean, I always loved shoes. Like growing up, getting shoes was always a big deal. So it was usually like get a pair for like back to school. Then maybe I could like get a pair for my birthday, maybe like maybe a pair at Christmas. So like maybe like I'd get like three pairs a year, if that. Um, and then kind of like the oldest pair, would become like your play outside pair or whatever, and then you got a new pair for school. So I always just loved shoes. Then I got to college, I got a job. I had always had a job, kind of like off and on, some part time. And I was like, I want to try to get a job at like a sneaker store. So I applied at Finish Line, Foot Locker, Champs. I think those were the main three that I applied at in Kennesaw, is where I went to school. And I got an interview at Finish Line. Interview went well. I got the job. So I started as like a stock assistant in the back. Worked my way up, became like the stock lead or stock manager or whatever. Excuse me. And then became a sales associate, then assistant manager later on. So I worked there like 4 years, and that was like where just kind of like my networking within shoes and like all that like really grew a lot. Learned a lot more about them, of course, just by being around them at my job every day. And then I quit that job. It just wasn't like the career path that I was trying to do. And then a few years, I mean, I still love shoes, and if anything, I loved them more than I ever had. And I was like, I don't really want to get like another job, like another sneaker store job. And really, there weren't any like boutique shops and stuff. I mean, there was at the time Wish and Walters, stores like that, but this whole resale shop thing was like not non-existent at this time. Really, not that many as there are now. So I probably, if I was in that same position today, I'd probably go and work at one of those stores, honestly, because that would be like ideal. But at the time, that wasn't really a thing. So I was like, you know what? I was like, people post like content around sneakers. I was like, I'm gonna do that because that keeps me connected, even though I'm not, working a sneaker job. That kind of keeps me connected with the friends I've made over time, and that's essentially like the reason behind it. But I'm not super comfortable on camera. Maybe I've learned to be more comfortable for sure, but still get nervous here and there. And so my first videos, I didn't show my face. I would just like film. I'd film like showing the shoe like just in my hands, and so that's kind of how I got started. I was like, I I just want to do this for like the purpose of putting out shoe content, not like make it personal, really. And then over time, I guess I got more comfortable and decided to show my face and change kind of the dynamic of the content. But that's how I got started. And
And what
it's
was the timetable around that? Because it's been several years since you've been posting.
it was when the Jerry Lorenzo Fear of God Nike collaboration started. So I think that was December of 2018.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I'm pretty sure. And so I got the Fear of God Skylons, Air Skylons. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Um,
Skyline twos, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. So I got two of those from Social Status in Atlanta and entered like for the Air Fear of Gods, and the Skylon twos. There was like no, like if you Googled them the day that I bought them, if you Googled them, there were not pictures on the internet of, I think the white pair. People had pictures of the white pair, but there were no pictures of the black pair, which to say that in 2023, we've already got pictures of shoes for next year. You know what I mean? So it's like hard to fathom that that was a thing, but if you, I mean, no sneaker blog sites had pictures of them. I don't know why. They weren't out there. So I was like, you know what? This would be a good shoe to kind of put out there because nobody really has anything on it. And so I just like went home, filmed the video on my iPhone. I had no idea what I was doing. Filmed the video, put it on YouTube, and it ended up doing really well. Shout out to 2J's Kicks, by the way, JC Lopez. He's been a really cool guy, like in my journey of doing this. And so I'd asked him like some questions about making a channel, and he was really encouraging. And so when I put out my first video, I think I tweeted him and like tagged him. He reposted it. So I think that kind of helped my first video do well. Um, and then it's just been making videos and learning along the way since then.
That's beautiful. Yeah, and shout out to 2J's for real because I grew up like watching all those guys, Jumpman, Bostic,
Yep.
Bull, like
Mm-hmm.
everybody. So do you feel
Simpson.
like
Yeah.
Fomer, do you feel like you've been like embraced by that sneaker content creation community?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some people like you, everybody's spread out across the United States, you know? So like some people, I still haven't met some people that I'd really like to meet. But like 2J's Kicks, I see him like frequently at sneaker events and things. And he's just like super genuine. And that's how most of the people are that I've met, like pretty much all of them. Um, like Unbreakable Kicks, another one that I watched for like a really long time. And now we're cool. So it's really interesting. Seth Valery's super nice. I would really like to meet Fomer Simpson because I really like his like humor and demeanor and like his style of video. I think is so good. But yeah, I mean everybody's super cool. Meeting them at sneaker events was like really how I met a lot of people. So I appreciate SneakerCon. It's definitely one of my favorite events to go to even now. Even though like it's a lot of the same type thing, but like I like to go because like I might meet you, I might meet somebody else that I've never met before, or maybe somebody wants to meet me, and to be able to like all come together at a place around sneakers and the culture is really cool.
Yeah, 100%. I was actually going to ask you, what city do you think throws the best sneaker con?
So I wish I could say Atlanta, but to be honest, the best one that I've been to by far was LA, which was really in Anaheim, but LA was the largest sneaker con event I've been to. I really want to go to Complex Con, but I just hadn't lined up for me to go to that. But as far as sneaker con events go, the best one I've been to was sneaker con LA. And I think it's just like the brands, like it's such a large venue and the brands like really put a lot of their budget into that show.
Did you go to the Sneaker Con LA? Or I'm sorry, this was Complex Con. I was going to mention when they released the yellow Tiffany's
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, Complex
that
Con.
was, that was
That was a
insane.
wild one.
I hope nothing like that happens again, but man, like the
Yeah.
excitement behind that shoe was unreal.
Yeah, that's it. It's there. I feel like there hasn't been like that much hype on a shoe in quite a while. That was like kind of the ending of like maybe that like just really wild hype behind a sneaker. I mean, Travis Scott, I guess, still has kind of the biggest name as far as
Hmm.
drops go, but I mean, people aren't going crazy like that. I don't think anymore.
Yeah. Well, going back to SneakerCon, do you have like any crazy come ups or sick trades that you've made at any of these events that you can
Hmm.
touch on?
No, I mean, definitely, I would say probably the best thing about SneakerCon is like if you're really looking for like that one rare shoe, like you honestly could probably find it there. And it might not be your size. Sometimes you gotta, get lucky in that regard. But as far as just seeing a lot of pairs in hand that I thought I would never see, like probably one of the coolest ones have been like some LeBron PEs. Like when LeBron was in Miami, that was like some of my favorite like Nike basketball uh era of sneakers, just all the PEs that he wore. So I've seen a lot of the PEs, like the black chrome LeBron 10s, the denim LeBron 10 PEs. Um, I forget some of the other ones that I've seen, but
Have you
like
ever
you
seen
just
like the Dunk Man or the Fruity Pebbles ones?
I don't think I've seen like the Fruity Pebble fours. I
Yeah.
don't think I've seen those. I've seen the Dunkmans, and then like a lot of the LeBron 9, the elite PEs that he wore. I've seen a bunch of
Hmm.
those, like the tennis ball, the cannons, all those are really sick.
Wow.
So I really miss like that era, like the KD fours, the Kobe sixes, sevens, and eights. So like that was when I was like working within sneakers still at Finish Line. So like that was just a super special like sneaker era for me for sure.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Like that was my around my freshman, well, really like I would say like eighth grade to early high school years when Nike
Okay.
basketball was at its peak, and I
Yeah.
remember like losing sleep on like kicks on fire, like looking
Yeah.
at like the Aunt Pearl KDs and the Nerfs and
Yeah.
like the South Beaches and the Solars, like all the LeBrons and KDs out back then were insane.
That's cool. One of the managers at another Finish Line that I worked at, he would like look out for this guy, like hold him a pair, of each, Jordan 3 comes out, he'd hold him a pair, sell it to him or whatever. Not like give him to him, but just like make sure he got his pair. And that dude got the Weatherman KD4s and just like gifted them to the store manager. I was so butthurt on that one.
That's love, though. I mean, that goes to show like you do favors for people, they'll look out in return.
Yeah, yeah, and
That's
I think
crazy.
that's missing. Like, I mean, I think it still happens. I'm not going to say it's missing completely, but I think that's maybe what people don't understand. Is like a lot of sneaker people, at least like that are probably around my age or older. That respect thing goes like a long ways, and that's what like people care more about. It's not like just about like, oh, did you get it or did you not get it? It's more about like, hey, like this is my guy at this store. Like you're like it's a more personal thing attached to getting the shoes. So I think that's where like a lot of the things going online, stores going online and stuff, they've cut off that like personal connection that you would have from like picking a shoe up in store, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. I could say the same thing. So like what's your current thoughts on sneaker culture at the moment? Because I know it's kind of a divisive, it can be a little divisive, like subjective opinion, but if you're,
hmm
if you had to give yours, what would you say?
I would say honestly, I mean, part of it ties into like me making content, and I think uh like the way that maybe not necessarily content creators create content, but the way that the apps and the platforms like push the content and like what they push affects like what's popular now. So it's like let's take Panda Dunks for example. Panda Dunks, personally, I think it's a great shoe if you look at it from like it's a black and white Nike Dunk. Like
Super
most people,
wearable.
yeah, super wearable. Now the materials they use really terrible materials, so it's like okay, you can like hate on them for that. It's fine. And a lot of people have them. But there's a lot of shoes that a lot of people have that don't receive the like hate that Panda Dunks receive. And it's just I feel like it's just become like kind of like the scapegoat on like I don't know, just like the joke. You know what I mean? Where it's like people are like, "Oh, what's the worst shoe ever? Panda Dunks." It's like that's not true. Like just
Hmm.
it's not true. And so, but like it's the popular answer, and so people just I feel like kind of feel obligated to say that when like it's definitely not the worst shoe. It's a black and white Nike Dunk. Like that would be
Hmm.
like saying the all white Air Force One's the worst shoe because everybody's got them, and it's just all white.
That's a
I
good
mean,
comparison.
yeah, I mean it's like well, you would nobody would say that, right? Like everybody likes
Mhm.
all white Air Force Ones, but I don't know. I think it's maybe just the materials I get kind of. Um, at first they were like super hype and expensive, kind of like I think Panda Dunks were like $300 or $400, and now they're
Yeah, I
just like,
capitalized on that. I capitalized during that time period. I was working at
really?
Nike at Linux. Yeah, I was working at Linux
Wow.
Nike. So,
Yeah, so I mean, it's just like I don't know. I think as far as like the current like status of sneaker culture, I think it needs to be like more educational. I think like people, not I'm not saying everybody, but I think there are some people that are kind of attaching themselves to sneakers and they don't really know like why they even like a shoe or don't like a shoe. It's just like they're afraid to maybe like something that's different, like I have I just have some shoes behind me randomly, but like this shoe right here, the Air Max 1 Hemps. So it's not the exact same version that came out the first time, which I think was like 2005 maybe. But this shoe to me, like I wore these the other day for the first time. They have a crepe outsole. These are super sick to me, and they ended up like going on sale. I think I paid like $80 for these on Nike. So it's
Huh.
like how, I mean, to me, it's a super sick shoe. It pays tribute to like a very old Air Max 1. Um, but because it's like not hyped, like people don't buy it. And so I think if people just kind of got back to like wearing what they like, then I think things would kind of balance themselves out. And maybe that is happening as like as prices kind of come down. There's not that much resale on just like average shoes now, which is cool if you're trying to get a pair to wear. So I think it's just like some people got in. There was a lot of hype around sneakers. Now it's maybe kind of balancing itself out as the market dies down. And the people that are really like shoes are always going to hang around.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head, especially with the point about just like wearing what you want to wear. Like with social media, sometimes things are thrust upon you and you see it everywhere, and like it
Hmm.
becomes the popular it shoe. But even within my own personal style, I found myself cycling out of certain things because I'm just like, did I buy this because I felt like it was the popular shoe, like I need, or do I really need it, or do I like it? So yeah, I
Hmm.
think once people get out of that mindset of like wearing what's trendy, then the sneaker game will kind of level out, like you said, and it'll be back to being like more for like true like enthusiasts, people that can appreciate, say, like an obscure pair of Air Max ones or something. You know, for me, I
Hmm.
know like I love like the Atmos and the Safari Air Max ones, like you
Hmm.
know, and I think people probably wouldn't wear those as much anymore. But regardless, like that's a grail in most people's collection. So if
Hmm.
you like it, you should get it for you and your personal attachment to it. So
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think like there's nothing wrong with trends, right? I mean, I've
mhm.
definitely like bought into like certain trends here or there, like maybe it's a style of jacket or pants or whatever it may be. Like people kind of like trends aren't necessarily a bad thing, but I think
Yeah,
you have to have your own identity like at the end of the day where it's like, hey, like maybe you did
exactly.
this, but it's like this is really like you have a comfort zone. Like I definitely know I like to dress like kind of more simple. So
Hmm.
I can't do like tons of layers or like certain styles just like I know like I either don't feel comfortable in them or like in my opinion they don't look right on me. So I like a more simple style as far as dressing. I can appreciate people that can do like the high fashion looks. Like I think it looks so sick, but it's not me. So
Hmm.
uh, I think just find what you like and don't be afraid to like try something different. But uh, as far as trends go, like if you're just living trend to trend, it's going to be hard to sustain because you're probably going to spend a lot of money and then
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep up with that kind of thing. So just find your own style and, go that way.
Definitely. Well, aside from like, I guess two of the major sneaker brands like Nike, Adidas, what would you say is like one of your other favorite sneaker brands that as of right now?
So I mainly buy Nike. Um, I have Nike tattoos. I'm a huge Nike supporter. But outside of that, I mean, brands that are like I really appreciate, New Balance is one for sure. Um, I always wore like the 574 was like a go-to New Balance back in the day.
Yeah.
I always had to kind of keep a fresh pair. I would cut grass in a pair. So the 574 is like one of my favorite go-tos. Just like a really simple style. I like the
Hmm.
Stone Island collab that they did on those. I thought those were pretty cool. And I think that, they're known for their quality. So they also have always, I mean, they've been hot like the last couple years as far as like really in people's faces, I think, with the 550 and like a few of the other models that they've kind of revived. But I mean, New Balance has always been making cool collabs. So like if you go back like 5, 6, 7 years, like there were really cool New Balance collabs. People just didn't really talk about them like they do in 2023. So
Hmm.
they're always on my radar. Like the Kith Kith is dropping a pair tomorrow for the Toronto store opening, the red pair. I really want those. I know they're going to be so hard to get, but um, I think New Balance would probably be, if I was like gonna really go after like a pair outside of Nike or Jordan, I think New Balance would be probably my favorite.
Respect. Yeah, yeah. I'm where I love the 993 right now. That's like my
Mm,
go-to, just
yeah,
like throw on shoe. I love the silhouette and the comfort and I just the dad aesthetic. So I could definitely vouch for New Balance as well. I think they're killing it with Teddy Santis, being the creative
Joe
director
Fresh
now and
Goods.
stuff.
Yeah, Joe
Joe
Fresh Goods
Fresh.
has made some really good pairs.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I agree, and I love these. Like you said, the collabs, even like the early concepts and Kith collabs back in the
Mm-hmm.
day, the Kennedys and some of those older pairs. Like they're just grails, man.
Kith
And
has
they're
some really good ones.
they're consistent. That's one
Yeah.
thing I'll say. They set the bar high and they're
Mhm.
consistent. I do want to know what would you say is like the most expensive sneaker in your collection? I saw your review that you did with the 711 Dunks. I know it was kind of like a rental pair, but and that was crazy by
Yeah.
the way. But
Yeah.
what would you
Yeah.
say is like your personal?
Personal most expensive pair is the Marjards, which there's like the whole thing about I got a pair from StockX and they were fake. So I bought them in 2018, and this was before I even made videos or anything. That's just a shoe that I really wanted. They released in 2017. I missed the release by like a few minutes. I was at work. And then I think at the time, I think resale was like $600. And I mean, there was no way I could pay it. I just started a new job and I didn't have any money. So it was like 600, might as well have been 6,000. Like there was just no way I could buy them. And then they went up to like 800, 1,000 over time. And so then the following summer, they were like 1,400, I think was kind of what they were selling for on StockX. So I'd been saving up money because I was like, I'm gonna buy them. And so I ended up putting a bid out there. I paid 1,650. Uh, and so they went to StockX, they get authenticated, they pass verification, they come to me, I get them, I open them. The box, when I took the box out of the shipping box, like one of the whole corners of the box was smashed. So it was like, it's like I paid 1,600, like kind of expecting like a perfect box, you know. So the box is damaged. So I took pictures, send StockX email, like kind of upset, you know, like, hey, like the shoes, you know, look fine, I guess, but the box is damaged. So they ended up giving me some type of credit or something like for the box because wasn't really tripping. It was like I got the shoes. I was afraid of shipping the shoes back and like something weird happening. So I decided to
Yeah.
just stick with them. Yeah. And so I wore the shoes. Looking back on it now, this is like so hard to explain without having this type of conversation. But like looking back on it now that I've seen over time real pairs and fake pairs, my pair was clearly fake. But at the time, I'd never seen a real pair. Like nobody just had those around. And so I thought they were real. They came from StockX. StockX had a good reputation at the time. Now they really don't.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, like fast forward, I would be a lot more skeptical now than I was at the time. So anyway, I thought I had a real pair. Later down the road, I needed some money, decided to sell them. The value had like doubled in over time. So I sold them on Goat used. And then Goat told me that they were fake. And so it was like, And
Hmm.
so I was like, now I've started making videos in the meantime. And so I was like, well, I guess I'll just make a video about it. Like, whatever, just see what happens. And so I made a video. I also, in the meantime, like reached out to StockX customer service and explained what I just explained to you guys. And they sent me back an email that was like, okay, well, like send us your evidence. So I found somebody online from my video who showed me like the key points of like what to look at between a real and a fake pair. So I sent them like pictures of mine, pictures of a real pair, pointed out like circled arrows, like did the whole like this like private investigator stuff on the shoes and sent it to them. And then they, got back to me. Eventually, I ended up having to ship them the shoes so they could inspect them. They verified all my emails I had with them from like when I complained about the box. They had the pictures, all that. So, I mean, luckily it just kind of worked out where I had an issue the day I got them. I showed them the evidence that it matched up. Like, this is the same box, this is the same pair of shoes, whatever. And so I ended up getting a refund. And then I bought a new pair, a real pair. But at the time, I paid 1650 in 2018. This was 2021, and for a used pair, not a new pair, I paid 3,300.
Wow.
Yeah, 3,300. I ended up getting two
Uh,
pairs. I bought one pair for 3 grand, I think, and one pair for 3,300. And I gave away a pair on my channel. So
Man, that's awesome. Honestly, that's up there in terms of my grills. Like, it fits your style so perfect too, because it's
yeah,
so
it's
minimalist,
my style. Yeah,
so
that's why I like them.
minimalist, so wearable. You can thrash them; they still look great worn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which brings me to my next question: like, what sparked your Tom Sachs General Purpose 365-day wear challenge? Because
Mm.
that's something that I've seen you post constantly.
So I haven't. They're in here right here. I just got them back from Rejuvenator, but I haven't opened them. So um, back in 2020, at the end of 2020, Tom Sachs did like a wear test program with Nike for the Mars Yard like 2.5. I think is what they're kind of dubbing it. So it was like a Mars Yard with some like updated materials and like a black rubber toe cap. And so I really wanted to do that bad, bro. Like that was like for me to do something like that, that would I don't know like what I could possibly do in the future, like content creation wise, or like who knows like what's in store, what no matter what you do in life, like who knows what tomorrow could bring. But in my mind, that was like the pinnacle of like what I would want to do. Like to wear test for Nike would be like super cool, especially on that shoe specifically. So they put out this thing in December of 2020 that was like submit a video to become a Nike wear tester, like Tom Sachs. And so, of course, like they put this out, right? And I get COVID.
Oh.
So I can't film with anybody. Like I can't,
Hmm.
I had like really, really sick ideas as far as like my submission video. And because I work a regular job, like currently I work at Delta Airlines. At the time,
Hmm.
I did appliance installation, like install kitchen appliances Monday through Friday, sometimes the weekends. And so um, I had this really cool idea, like video concept. Like I was just thinking of all these ideas that I could do and have my friend film, Nick. And so I got COVID. So number one, I couldn't go to work and film, and I couldn't even like see Nick to like edit any type of video. So I had to just like film on my iPhone, try to put together like a submission video. I submitted it, and I know he saw it because he commented on it, but I didn't get selected essentially. And
Hmm.
long story short, like I didn't get selected, and which is fine, but I wanted to the purpose of me doing that was like kind of like, hey, like I'm gonna do a wear test of my own in a Tom Sachs, so I picked the general purpose shoe. I think kind of tied in with like it being like an everyday type shoe too, and it was
Hmm.
also a lot more attainable than like the Mars Yard sneaker. So that kind of fit better as far as like people. That's a shoe that people are wearing. Like I see them in Atlanta all the time, people wearing them, uh, and so I wanted to just extend it. Like most people do, like a 30-day, 60-day, maybe 90-day challenge.
Hmm.
Um, and I think like a real life wear test, like people that are within people that buy sneakers or sneakerheads or people that appreciate sneakers take care of their sneakers differently than like quote unquote like the average person, right? Like the average person
Exactly.
doesn't think about like, oh, I scuffed my sneakers. Like they're just wearing them, and over time they kind of get more worn and dirty. Maybe they probably never clean them. So I wanted to do like that kind of thing. Like, what is it like if you wear a shoe every single day for a year? and then just kind of see how they look at the end. And they were pretty trashed.
Yeah. Yeah, I love to see what they look like before and after with Rejuvenator because they do a great
Yeah,
job.
yeah, they do a great job. And so I sent them to them. I watched their video already, so I have an
Mhm.
idea at least of like how they look. And I mean, compared to how they looked when I mean, because even in some of my videos, they don't look as bad as they did in hand. But I'm excited. I got to open them like in the next day or two and
Mhm.
film a video. So I'll do kind of like my reaction, that sort of thing. So that'll be coming out soon.
Sick. Well, you had mentioned your friend Nick and helping you record videos. Is he a
Mhm.
content creator himself?
So he does some content creation for himself, but he mainly is Harrison Neville's cameraman. Nick
Okay.
Hazelwood, yeah. So he films for Harrison full time, and he's helped me kind of in the midst of like me doing content creation between filming and editing.
Got you. That's pretty sick. I like you and Harrison's relationship. How'd y'all get clicked up?
Yeah, he's literally, I mean, probably one of the nicest people I've ever met. Super humble, his success is insane within the content creation space, and so, but he's super humble, very very nice, and we actually lived in the same area, and so I just seen him around and just caught him outside one day and introduced myself, chopped it up with him, and Nick was with him too, actually. We talked for like a few hours about sneakers and stuff, and then we just kind of started hanging out like here and there, um, just randomly. Like he'd hit me up, we'd go out, get some food. That was it, and then just started hanging out more and more. Super organic, uh,
Mm,
and so we both love sports. He's a big sports guy too. He likes Atlanta because he lives here, but he's
mm.
from Baltimore, so he loves like the Ravens and the Orioles too. So that's kind of like his childhood teams, and then he likes Atlanta because he lives here and that sort of thing. But super cool dude, one of my best friends for sure.
Definitely, yeah. I do want to get on the sports thing at some point, but I want to know, do like the two of you, like as from a content creator standpoint, do y'all like bounce ideas off each other, or do you feel like he inspires you and you inspire him to create?
Yeah, I think like we have a lot of similar interests, but then at the same time, like we're like 6 years apart in age. And so sometimes like maybe like my sneaker memories are like a little bit different than his, like as far as when I started getting in the game, when he got in the game. And like so it's interesting, sometimes his perspective is like he has like a younger perspective and like maybe some shoes, like big releases for him, like where he was at in life versus where I was at. They're different, right? So I think that's cool. And his audience is a lot different than my audience. So sometimes like he might ask, what do you think about this idea? And like maybe my perspective is a little bit different than what he's usually thinking, and vice versa. So, yeah, I mean, we didn't really, that wasn't really a thing at first. But as we've like grown closer, like we talk about it. I mean, he's super knowledgeable. Like his knowledge within the space is really insane. But he's, like I said, like super humble, and just like, it's honestly very intelligent.
That's great. I think that's a great friendship to have. And I actually had the pleasure of running into him in Buckhead Plaza. I think I
Oh, cool.
was leaving, I think I might have been leaving Heavy Market, and
Hmm.
him and his girlfriend were like going out to eat, and I stopped him. I felt like a total weirdo, but I was like, hey, I was like, yo, what's up, man? Like, I'm, a big fan of yours. I've watched your content for years, and I just
Yeah.
wanted to know if you'd be interested in like an interview and this, that, and the third, just networking. But
Yeah.
I made sure that I mentioned like I would love and respect what he's done, for the city and as a content creator first and foremost. Because
Yeah.
like you said, he is really inspiring and he's killing it, and as are you. So that's a good
I
friendship.
appreciate it. Yeah, yeah, I mean, he's super successful and like his consistency. I mean, that's the one thing I would say is like the most, it's like the biggest key is like his consistency over the years is like unrivaled, really, as far as like just like the views he gets, the constant like evolution of like his content and stuff is really
Mhm.
cool.
Most definitely. Well, you've seen some success too, and I wanted to talk about just kind of how does it feel to have like brands sending you freebies? Like I know that you did something an ad with Gillette.
Yeah,
You've gotten a care package in with Dunkaroos. So how does that feel to be able to get that kind of stuff in the mail?
it's like it's 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 like kind of funny. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's cool. I mean, it doesn't ever really sink in, I don't think. I mean, maybe you get like somewhat used to it in a sense, but like at the same time, it's like when you think about it, for me, like I think about like, oh, Dunkaroos like has me on some list to like send me like a care package when they come out with a new product, or like General Mills, like I get a lot of stuff from General Mills, which I love cereal. Like I probably ate more
Mhm.
cereal as a kid than anybody else I knew. Like I could crush a box. So it's really cool. I mean, I
what
don't know. I really like it. It's definitely it's funny. It's just like it's so random. It's cool.
what's your favorite cereal?
Oh man, that's so hard. That's like favorite movie. Like I like that's like. But if I had to put like, I mean, I like the classics. So like I'm not gonna pick something like too wild.
Mhm.
But I would say Cinnamon Toast Crunch is like it's up there. Like it's a top three. Like if you're a cereal person, I feel like it has to be in your top three. Maybe it's not
Yeah.
number one, but it's got to be top three. Frosted Flakes, I think I would also put in there. Like I just feel
Hmm.
like they're super goated. Um, and then maybe I would pick like one that's like a little bit different. Um, like I don't know, like I love like Fruity Pebbles or like Cocoa Pebbles. I like chocolate a lot, so I have to get probably some type of chocolate in my list, like Cocoa Pebbles maybe.
Facts. Yeah, I used to like Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa Puffs too. Yeah, I mean there's I mean the list is crazy. And all the new ones like there's a lot of new cereal out there that's good. I don't know if you've tried that Crave chocolate cereal. That
It's pretty
stuff's
good.
good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Kind of like Cap'n Crunch, but chocolate.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I know you're like a foodie. So like what are some of your favorite shops to hit in Atlanta specifically?
Food like food spots.
Yeah.
Um, so I live in Buckhead. And I really like to like just like kind of stick around my area. So there's definitely a lot of good places to eat around Atlanta, like depending on what you want to eat.
Hmm.
But we've been eating at there's a restaurant Italian spot called Yeppa that we eat there a lot. They have really
Hmm.
good pizza. Um, it's like made on focaccia bread, and so apparently they fly the dough in from Italy. It's like crispy on the bottom, but it's
Yeah.
like fluffy on top. It's really good. Um, and is this lighting? The lighting's like changing. Is that gonna mess you up?
It's cool.
Nah.
It should be
Okay.
fine.
They opened a new like Mexican spot near me called Pachingos. It's like street tacos and margaritas, really good. Um, I mean, I've tried to like get into more like trying new spots because I eat at the same places over and over and over again. Like
Hmm.
sports bar wise, like I have to shout out Irby's. Irby's is my spot to watch sports. I absolutely love that place. Um, that's kind of like I like to stick around the Buckhead area unless like there's a group of us going out and maybe we go to like somewhere on the Beltline or East Atlanta or maybe like West Midtown or something like that.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, I guess this will kind of like pivot into the question about where your favorite places to shop in Atlanta are. Since you are kind of in the Buckhead area, what are some of your favorite shops to hit? And I guess, in general, what are your favorite shops to support in Atlanta? Because there's a lot of really good ones.
I mean there's so many compared to how many I mean it was like they all popped up like super quick.
Hmm.
So like I think like retail wise, like my probably my two favorite stores, like if I'm talking about a retail location, would be Wish and Soul Play. So
Hmm.
as far as like just like a retail shopping experience, Wish and Soul Play would be my two favorites for sure. And then if we're talking about like resale type stores, Full Circle is by far. I mean, as far as like their inventory, their pricing, and their staff, like if that's what we're going to base it off of, I know the guys that own it, and they're super genuine people. Like I mean, there's just no other way to like really say it. But so the guys at Full Circle, like I really rock with them. Versus ATL, they're over by Mercedes Benz. I like those guys
Hmm.
too. Ecstatic, Con at Ecstatic. It's kind of like a newer store, so maybe you guys haven't heard of that one. But he used to be at another store in Atlanta, but now he's at a store called Ecstatic. So shop with Ecstatic. Um, and then, I mean, as far as like around me, there's Luxury Box, which I couldn't say that like I shop there frequently, but it's a good store. And it's in my
Hmm.
area, so it's easy for me to walk there. But
Definitely.
Full Circle's that's the people you want to rock with.
Agreed. Yeah. Shout out to them, man. I think I ended up following you after the Hoop Atlanta event. I had went
Oh, okay.
to support Full Circle because I got a good relationship with Pi and Tito and
Yeah.
everybody over there. Good guys. What was your thoughts on that whole thing? Because that event was crazy. Like I feel like Atlanta
Well, that's
needs more
cool.
things like that.
Yeah, it was really cool. I think like from me like kind of being behind the scenes to an extent like with that, and then I think it's like putting on an event is like a big deal. I think a lot of people don't really realize that. Maybe even people that are like kind of trying to do it themselves. So the Hoop Atlanta stuff is really cool. I rock with ATATF a lot, and KO puts on some great events, and so hopefully we get more stuff like that because it's really cool. I know it takes a lot, but I think the city, will support it. So hopefully we see more from them over the next couple of years for sure.
Most definitely. And as a sports guy, I'm sure that meant a lot to you. So I guess like what's you root for all like Atlanta sports? Like I know you're dogs. You like the Hawks, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Hawks and
all Atlanta
Falcons.
teams, the Falcons. Yeah. So unfortunately, my I haven't checked it over the last few minutes, but I think the Falcons are still down to the
Yeah,
Lions. I
I
kind of
think
got
so.
like red zone on in the background, but
I got
yeah.
Bijan on my fantasy team.
Oh, he's tearing it up. He's
He
tearing it up.
is.
Yeah, for sure. So I was kind of nervous about. I mean, when you draft a running back like that high, I was like, like hopefully
Yeah.
he shows out. But yeah, he's playing super well. But yeah, I mean, Atlanta teams like I would say outside of Atlanta teams, it's just like LeBron James for me. Um, so it's like I'm gonna root for the Atlanta teams straight up,
Hmm.
but I want to see LeBron get rings. So. Uh, that's like my whole sports analysis. Like UGA, Braves. It's really like UGA and Braves are like up there.
Hmm.
Hawks, Falcons are right there, and LeBron is. I mean, that's who I cheer for.
Definitely, yeah. Shout out King James. I do want to ask you though, like in terms of like hometown heroes, who are some of your favorite Atlanta bred like athletes? I guess like athletes that have been on like the Braves and the Falcons and the Hawks.
So I've got one. I can kind of turn this around. Andrew Jones, no Sean Marino. Um, we're big. Me and my brother are big on jerseys, so we've got a bunch of Georgia autographs that we've gotten over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Andrew Jones, like drafted by the Braves, didn't play his whole career with the Braves, but essentially, I mean, he pretty much did. He went to
I
the
had his
Yankees
poster
at
growing
the end.
up.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like he was another guy that was like just like so fresh in center field. Like he played with so much swagger, the way he catch the ball, throw the ball. I mean, his swing, like he was a really cool
Hit
dude.
nukes too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he could hit the ball. So, um, like him, Chipper Jones, would be like probably my two big ones. But I mean, I loved like all the Braves, like probably Braves that people don't even remember. Like I like the whole team. And so those, but I mean, I have that jersey and his batting glove, both autographed. Uh, as
Nice.
far as like the dogs go, like my younger self, it'd be like David Green, AJ Green. Um, like I like them a lot. No Sean Marino was a big one for me. That's when I went to Georgia, Florida. Was when he was on the team. So that
Hmm.
was like a really sick era, like Tim Tebow at Florida. Um,
Dude, No Sean was so athletic. Like I
Yeah,
still remember that picture of him like
hurdle.
hurling guys. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like iconic. So, I just love sports, dude. Like, there's nothing like more exciting than sports. And I mean, it's hard for me to imagine people not liking sports. I get people don't, but like, there's
yeah.
so much good that comes from sports as far as like teamwork and like discipline and things that come from sports. Like, sports are so sick.
Most definitely. Yeah. How did it feel to get? Correct me if I'm wrong. With DeAndre Swift's autograph on a ball?
Yeah. So I've got
How was
his.
that?
Yeah. So my brother has running back jerseys. Like, I have no Sean, but my brother has like DeAndre Swift, Chubb, Michelle,
Mm.
maybe one
That
more.
running back room, dude.
Yeah, yeah. So
When y'all had
we have a sick one.
Gurley,
Yeah,
Michelle, and Swift.
yeah, yeah. It's like nuts. Um, but he was super cool. There's a page that I follow called Georgia Autographs,
Mm.
and they have a close partnership like with UGA or a close relationship or whatever. And so now, I mean, I guess now they can just sign autographs whenever they want. But back back then, they had to graduate, so it was like, oh, once they graduate, then they can legally sign autographs for money. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So when Todd Gurley graduated, we went and got his autograph. Um, and then I did Chubb and Michelle and Swift. I went to all of those. So I really like to, I mean, buying an autograph's fine, but for me personally, like I really try to get like all the ones I have, I pretty much got them in person because I want to meet the
Hmm.
person if I can, like shake their hand, maybe share like, some type of moment or something with them. So that's cool.
Definitely. I had an autographing phase myself. Like I used to go to Braves games with an old friend of mine, and he's still a huge autographer. But I remember
Hmm.
my first autograph I ever got myself was Bryce Harper on a sweet spot.
Oh,
We were
that's sick.
sit, yeah, we were, and this is when he played on the Nats. So like
Hmm.
we were sitting Nationals dugout outside, and I think it was like the seventh inning stretch or something, and we were calling down into the dugout like trying to get Bryce to notice us, and he looked kind of reluctant to do it at first because we were Braves fans like head to toe, but we
Uh,
were kids, so we were like we threw the ball down there. He signed it real quick. I think I got Ian Desmond as well back when he
wow,
used to
cool.
play. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I love autographing. I'm glad that that's something we have in common.
Yeah, it's kind of like chasing sneakers, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's like, oh, like maybe one day I could get this sneaker, maybe one day I could get this autograph. It's kind of a similar type thing. Like obviously I could go online and I could just buy whoever's autograph, uh, but kind of getting it in person, it's kind of more like along the lines of like chasing a sneaker grail, maybe finding it eventually like at a store or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's really cool.
Definitely. Well, now I want to get into some fashion related questions because I know that
All
you're
right.
not just a guy that likes sneakers. So, in your opinion, aside from sneakers, of course, what's the most important part of an outfit in your opinion?
Hmm. I guess, dang, that's tough if I take sneakers out because, like, for me, it's like I pick the sneakers and then it's like clothes are secondary. I did work
Yeah.
at I did work at a clothing store like for a little while, and I was like, oh well, it kind of goes with sneakers, so like I'll probably like this job as much as I like Finish Line, and I didn't like. I definitely care more about shoes than I do about clothes, but I appreciate clothes and like I want my clothes to look good. Um, I'd probably say like for me, it'd probably be I guess like the bottom, like whatever you're wearing with the shoe. So I think
Hmm.
like you can get away with maybe doing like something kind of minimal on top, but I think maybe like depending on the shorts you wear or the pants you wear, that'd probably be like my second most important most important piece, I think.
Okay. And do you have any like underrated style advice you can give men out there that may be watching this, trying to like
Underrated.
elevate?
Um, I think maybe it's like I think pants wise, like for example, I just went to the mall recently. I was searching for like a specific shape of denim. and I really wanted like a light wash, like relaxed fit pair of Levi's. Like that was like I was trying to create like a certain aesthetic, and that's like what I wanted. And so I went to the mall. I went to, I guess, Macy's, and I mean, I went through the whole Levi's section, and I tried
Mm-hmm.
on pair after pair after pair. Couldn't get like none of them were like what I envisioned in my head. You know what I mean? And so, but I found one pair that was like, oh, this is like as close as I'm gonna get. And I was kind of rushing it, but I was like, all right, this is as close as I'm gonna get. Like I bought the jeans. They were like $70. Um, I think around 70. Then I went to actually that Hoop Atlanta, the Hoop Exchange event. They had vendors out there selling clothes. I walked by one rack of denim, picked out one pair of vintage denim, tried them on at the event. They were literally the exact vision that I had had of like what I was trying to find. I paid $20 for them.
Nice.
So it's like I paid a third of what I just paid at the mall, and I got exactly what I wanted versus something I didn't really want. So I think maybe it's like is like really shopping like I mean maybe vintage in your style, but I think like maybe like open your maybe my advice would be like to like kind of open your mind of like not just going straight to like Urban Outfitters or going to the mall or going to like a specific retail spot that you know like would have like that brand, but maybe like searching like on eBay. Like, dude, there's so many good
Mm-hmm.
deals on clothes on eBay that you can find because you can make offers and negotiate and that sort of thing. Like eBay is a
Mm-hmm.
super low key spot. I don't want to give away my spot, but eBay is a
Yeah,
super
I
super
love eBay.
underrated, I think, spot for like finding some crazy deals every once in a while. Like maybe not all the time, but you can find some steals on eBay if you're looking for something specific.
Depop and Poshmark too.
Ah, see, now I don't use those, but every once in a while I'll be talking like about this kind of topic with somebody and they'll be like, "Oh, I found such and such on Poshmark." It's like, like I don't use it, but I have heard good things about it.
Definitely. No, I like that advice though, because I'm very sustainable myself. Like I love shopping secondhand and shopping vintage. So that's dope, man. I'm glad you found the pants you were looking for too.
Yeah, I still haven't taken the photo, but I have the pants like ready for the photo.
Are they like a baggier fit, like more of a
Yeah.
relaxed?
Yeah, it's a
Nice.
car pair of Carhartts. And they're honestly there's so much you can tell like the quality's so much better than like the new pair. Like they're a heavier denim, softer because they've already been like worn out 1,000 times probably.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so much better of a purchase than the pair I got
Definitely.
at the mall, but it is what it is.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess like going into content creation, can you kind of like walk me through some of the highs and lows of being a content creator? Because I feel like we all kind of see, maybe the highlights of
Hmm.
people in your position, but they don't always see the like the groundwork that goes into it. So if you had to touch on like maybe just the duality of being a content creator, what would you say? Like, how's that experience? What has it taught you?
Um, I think it's definitely taught me like being persistent and being consistent are two like major factors of having success. Like I would say that I'm persistent, but I haven't been the most consistent. Um,
Hmm.
so like I'm not gonna quit doing it, but I could definitely work on my consistency. Um, and that it's definitely a tough balance, like working a regular job Monday through
Hmm.
Friday. Um, I usually work like I work 8 hours every day, right? But I usually end up working like 10 hours. Sometimes I'll work 12 hours. So it's like if I'm working that many hours, then to get off work and then to try and be creative and kind of put on that hat and do that type of work. And then for it, maybe the content to not do well in regards of like views or, that sort of thing, then it's tough. And I think mentally,
Hmm.
like that's like it sounds maybe kind of silly, but it's like some people like can't handle that. And I think it's something that's like unfortunate that like it go that like that's what it equals. But sometimes like I've worked on videos or reels or taking pictures that I thought were like really cool, and like I was like, oh man, like I think this content's gonna do really well for me, and it just
Hmm.
doesn't. And so that's kind of tough because like you put like actual effort and like energy and like your feelings into that, and for it to not like pan out necessarily how you hoped or envisioned, it can be tough mentally. And then sometimes, I mean, maybe you don't put in that much effort or you don't put that much thought into something, not in like a lazy way, but like maybe just something came a little more easily and that does really well. And it's like, oh,
Hmm.
that's weird. Like I kind of put that together fast and it did really well. So it's unpredictable. So I'd say that's something I've learned is like, I think being consistent definitely helps you like predict like, okay, I've done this type of video, it usually does well, like whatever, but you never really know. And to try and continue like whatever pace you're at, whether it's posting once a week, once a day, twice a day, whatever your posting schedule is, that can be it can be a little bit daunting if you maybe are having trouble like creating ideas or brainstorming that sort of thing. And I mean, everybody goes through it, whether it's me or Harrison or whoever it may be. Like everybody that I'm friends with, like we all have the same discussion. Like everybody asks each other this same question, and everybody kind of has the same answer. Like maybe it's a little different here and there, but you know, I think just staying consistent and not getting too high or low where it's like, oh, like your content's doing so well, like you don't want to like exceed, because it's up and down for sure.
Definitely. Is there any misconceptions about that people may have about you or Harrison or any other like, successful YouTube content creators that you'd like to dispel?
Yeah, I mean, I mean for sure. I think probably the one that I think I would get, um, is that maybe people, because I'm newer in the content creation space, is like, oh, he's only been making content for X amount of time. That's like when I started getting into shoes, or like I think that's probably the one that I get the most is like, oh, like he doesn't know
Mm-hmm.
what he's talking about or this or that. And like sometimes, I mean, I definitely don't know everything, first of all. So like
Hmm.
somebody's gonna ask me a question or I'm gonna say something that's wrong, like because I don't know everything. But um I think that's something like people just look at your online presence and like that's what they base off, which I mean, that's all they have to go off. They don't know me. Um but yeah, I think everybody gets like I think Harrison gets a different reaction because of like his style of content is different, but that might not be. I think that's what I've learned like from him, and then just like even like some of the other like large personalities that I've met. It's like who somebody is in their video, like it might be embellished or their energy, like somebody here in Atlanta that you may know, Sniper Jones, like his energy level like in his videos is like sometimes like OD, like it's up there. And like he is like the same personality in person, but he's not like yelling at the camera or like some of that stuff. Like people think
Hmm.
like, oh, this guy is like maybe just like kind of whatever, like too high energy, but like it's for the video and
Exactly.
it does help with engagement. So like I get a lot of times that like, oh, I'm monotone or I speak slow or this or that. And it's like, I mean, that's just like kind of how I am. I mean, I don't know. Like I'm not going to apologize, but everybody has an opinion on the internet and it's good to probably look over like most of those opinions.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's dope. I like that you're being real like vulnerable and open because obviously like with success comes like naysayers here and there, but ultimately like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and I think you have a great personality. Like that so far this interview's been awesome.
I
So
appreciate it. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I like to do this kind of thing because like I can meet somebody and have a genuine connection with them, but um, I don't meet people that often, outside of my friend circle. So it's cool to do stuff like this for sure, and kind of, just be able to speak to a larger audience for sure.
definitely. Well, we're winding down, but I wanted to know, do you plan on releasing more merch? Because I saw the UGA shirts that you
Oh, the
released, super
UGA
sick.
shirt. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the back-to-back champion shirt, like the rap tee. Is
Hmm.
that like what's next in store for you? Are you gonna test your test the waters at releasing merch and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I've like there's like ideas that I come up with where like I'll see something, it might be like a skate deck or it might be um like a piece of clothing or maybe a hat or a bag or just like things that like I appreciate and like things that are kind of tie in with like what I'm into. So I'm
Hmm.
definitely gonna do some skate decks. There's like some skate decks that I kind of want to like paint and kind of create that I have like a vision for. So that's gonna be coming in the next few months. I don't want to I don't want to say too soon. I want to say like next week, but I know I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do it that fast. So the next few months, I'm gonna do some skate decks, some more t-shirts for sure. The Georgia t-shirt was super cool, and it was something that really like everything that I create. I can definitely say like it's gonna be something that like I'm essentially making it for myself. And if other people think it's cool, cool. If you don't think it's cool, it's fine because I really made it for myself. And not
Hmm.
to sound like selfish or something like that, but I I'm really just like I have a specific kind of like style and like it's just like who I am. And so if people resonate with that, that's cool. And if not, like it's no big deal. But the Georgia t-shirts I think turned out really well. It was like really exactly like what I envisioned, and I've got some other like sports memorabilia ideas for sure already. Like I'm gonna start as soon as I get like these first orders out and kind of refine my process of like getting the shirts made and everything. Then I can probably like move faster with like each one. This one kind of took me a while to put together, but yeah, I think more merch. I don't know if I'll ever do like my own merch line. Like that idea hasn't like fully prospered. Uh,
Hmm.
but as far as like creating some like tangible items, yeah, I've got some more stuff that I want to do.
Super sick. Well, on Intune, on Get Intune, I like to give the audience a chance to hear from who I'm interviewing. So, is there any sort of advice that you can give any of like any aspiring content creators here that would benefit them going forward?
I think probably like the best advice that I could give anybody, which it's like something that I've had to like really reflect on, is to really have like a super positive attitude. And I don't know how to like I don't know how to really like put into words exactly how impactful that is, but it's huge. So as far as like me over the past few years, I would say like the last, let's see, like year and a half, I've like really tried to embrace and focus on like a more positive attitude, and that's really shifted like a lot of things that I have going on. And so I think it's something that it doesn't matter if you're doing content creation or you're just trying to get like into a college, or you're trying to, start like a new job, or you're playing sports, or like whatever it may be. Like I think really like a positive attitude is huge, and just like it's not easy. It's something that like you actually have to like wake up, at least me, like I have to wake up and like maybe there's like I'm late for work, or whatever, like I don't know, just like bad things happen, right? And you can't control
Mm.
them. So it's really like your reaction and like the growth you get from that reaction, if you can react in a positive way, or like look at the bigger picture. Like at least for me, like I have a bunch of things that like I may be struggling with on a daily basis, or maybe like just here and there on and off. But if I can look at the bigger picture and like appreciate the other side, then I think it helps me grow. So I would say probably the best advice I have, like regardless if you're trying to be a content creator, like have a really positive mindset towards that. If you're, whatever you're really trying to do, like having a positive mindset literally will get you so much further. Like being nice will get you so much further than like not being nice. Like it sounds so simple, but it's something that I consciously worked on over the last year, and I promise you it's made like a huge difference in my
Wise words from Blake Yarbrough, y'all.
life. Like I've watched I don't know. I'm super passionate about it. And it's very personal to me, so I appreciate the question.
Definitely. Well, I gotta know, if you had to choose one sneaker in your whole collection, what would you keep and why?
I mean, my all-time favorite shoe is the Mars Yard, which
Hmm.
is is cool to some people. Like you appreciate the shoe and you like it. So many people don't like it. They don't get it. Which is it doesn't bother me, but that's my favorite shoe of all time. Like I love the brown and the red, like the color blocking, the shape, like the story behind him creating the shoe and like it being tied to space. Like I love space. I like going skydiving. Like going to space is like a crazy idea to me. I like just like kind of I don't know, like everything about space astronauts. Like I just think that kind of like science stuff is cool. Um, and so that shoe kind of being tied to that and the original like using materials from the Mars rover and that sort of thing. Yeah, I really resonate with that shoe, and that would be one that I could wear like forever. I think I could just like have that shoe and just like that simplified kind of style would be something if I had to just pick one, that would be it for sure every time.
Nice. Well, can you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you at on social media? Instagram, YouTube, Twitter,
Yeah,
any of
for
that?
sure. So I mainly just do like Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, I guess, which I'm trying to
Hmm.
get more consistent on TikTok, but it's at underscore Blake Yarbrough, Blake Yarbrough on YouTube. And yeah, guys, I mean, I'm always working on the consistency thing. So you might see I mainly post on Instagram right now, but always trying to grind out some YouTube videos, reviews. I'm considering going like kind of like a lifestyle type route with some more content on YouTube because I like that. It's like a transition that I kind of want to make and keep doing reviews, always sneaker focused. And then Instagram, I post on there daily stories, that kind of thing, like what I'm doing, what I'm wearing, what I'm buying, that sort of thing. At underscore Blake Yarbrough on all those platforms.
Awesome. Well, Blake, it's been a pleasure, man. You've been
Thank you,
really
Nick.
insightful. You've been a great guest, and you even put me on some game too. So I really appreciate you for sitting down with me. And yeah, this has been Get In Tune with Blake Yarbrough.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.